Well, just like everything in life, all good things must come to an end. And all great bands, unfortunately, they have tragedy, they age out, and they just have to come to an end. So there are some really good final albums of some great bands. And I want to talk about 5 of them that I think are extremely good and a great way for the bands to end and go out on. So let's talk about the 5 that I have, and then you can add your own down in the comments, and we'll do that next. Hello again. Thank you so much for coming back. I so appreciate it. We're growing so fast and it's so exciting. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And I want to talk about the end of some bands and how they kind of went out with their swan song, their final albums. Some were aware it would probably be their final album. Some had no idea it was going to be their final album. But these are 5 that I think were really good. And the first one, and I absolutely have to mention it, if I don't mention it, I'm going to get reamed in the comments. It's one of the greatest final albums of one of the greatest bands, though I never really was a huge fan of this band, but I have to admit they really paved the roads for what I did start to listen to as I was a little bit young for this band, and that's the Beatles, Let It Be. Yeah, classic final studio record. But it was turmoil for them to make it. They were already on the verge of breaking up. Lennon was hardly participating at some point. McCartney was infighting and not liking anything that anybody was coming up with, especially George Harrison. They got in a fight, and Harrison and Lennon got in a fight, and Harrison left the band, and then it was just chaos. But they got it together. They did the famous rooftop concert. Nobody really knows whose idea that was, but they did the rooftop concert, and they ended up pulling 2 songs off of that they included on the record. That'd be One After 909 and Dig a Pony that were included on the record that were recordings from the live rooftop concert until the police broke it up. But yeah, number 5 of great final albums, absolutely the Beatles, Let It Be. It'd probably be number 1 on a lot of people's lists, but I was a little too young to really be that deep into the Beatles, though I recognize their contributions. Number 4, and this one I really enjoyed, and I own it, and I really enjoy it, and that would be Van Halen, A Different Kind of Truth. Yeah, they got back with David Lee Roth, and it came out in 2012. And they had taken about 7 of the 13 songs were actually from the late 70s, early 80s demos that they kind of reworked, rewrote the lyrics, and that's why some of the songs have an old school Van Halen sound to them, I guess. But I love Tattoo. I love She's a Woman. It's just a really, really good record. I know Michael Anthony wasn't in it, and we were all kind of Wolfgang's would be playing bass. Well, now we know Wolfgang is quite an accomplished musician, and he was able to provide that backing vocal that was missing with them not having Michael Anthony. But yeah, number 4, Van Halen, A Different Kind of Truth would be one of my best final records of a great band. Number 3, and this is one that the band did not know it was going to be their final record. It was only their 3rd studio album, and that would be from 1993, Nirvana's In Utero. After that, following Kurt Cobain's tragic death. But what a record. They recorded it in 6 days, and it had some of the most classic Nirvana songs, from Heart-Shaped Box to Rape Me to All Apologies. It's just a really, really good record, and there was some infighting about the mixing and the mastering of it, but I think it was a well-mixed record. They wanted it not to sound as raw as Nevermind did, and I think they accomplished it. They were starting to move in a more refined direction until, of course, Kurt Cobain's passing. But yeah, number 3, Nirvana, In Utero, absolutely. Number 2 has got to be, and this is a band that probably knew they were towards the end, and this is a band that had been together forever. This is from 2012, and it's Rush, Clockwork Angels. What a masterpiece. I mean, after what, 40 years, 35 years, they hadn't missed a beat. The album is incredibly well done. Musicianship, Geddy's vocals. Well, Neil Peart, who unfortunately, passed away of brain cancer, but just it had a mixture of all the different styles that they had used throughout their career, and they kind of all brought it together in Clockwork Angels. So that's my number 2 great final album from a great band. And number 1, and you guys know I'm going to pick this one number 1. I really enjoy it. And that would be Black Sabbath 13. Yeah, I mean, with Ozzy back, of course, no Bill Ward. I wish Bill would have been there. But it had the sound. Some of the songs, like End of the Beginning, had that old, early 70s Sabbath sound. God is Dead, ? That was a really good song. They just had a lot of good songs on it. It sounded like old school Sabbath. Ozzy's vocals were very, very well done. And it's just a really good record. And for their final record, it really let them go off in the sunset. Of course, they had the final concert weeks before Ozzy's death. But that final studio album, Black Sabbath 13, I think that was a real good way for the band to go out. So there's my 5. My 5 great final albums from great bands. Give me some of yours in the comments. I know there's a bunch more. I had more on my list, but I whittled it down to the 5. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Click that notification so you know when I'm posting another one. And until next time, I appreciate your time and thank you so much for watching.